exhausting. Across the Atlantic and back in 3 days, door to door, and she would have been once again drinking coffee in her cubicle in New Haven. The upside? Once in a while, maybe every third trip or so, something went delightfully sideways. Mishaps usually boiled down to logistics. Bad weather, schedule mix-up, house registrar out sick, striking preparators. These were the flies in the ointment she pinned her hopes on. Unexpected delays translated into extended stays, and that, in a city as vibrant and sophisticated as the Spanish capital, was just what she wanted. Thank God for saints. James, Charlotte's museum colleague in operations, was a dapper, some would say needlessly fussy fellow who had handled travel at the museum for 2 decades. It wasn't at all like him to miss an official foreign holiday, but somehow, in the process of carefully piecing together Charlotte's hour-by-hour itinerary, even perspicacious James hadn't factored in the Immaculate Conception. Nor could he have planned on the Arctic squall that unexpectedly descended on the city the very day of the Marian Festival in the first week of December. Someone or something had conspired to keep her in Madrid just a little longer. But what to do with the unforeseen gift of free time? She'd go out, obviously, but that was easier said than done well in a city she'd only visited once. The most annoying thing about these junkets was that she actually knew, or knew of, some attractive and intelligent people in many of the places she was sent to. If only she'd been given the time to see them. In anticipation of her first ever courier trip last year, Charlotte had written well in advance to one of her dissertation advisors at Yale, who was visiting at Oxford. Sadly, their planned pub crawl in King's Cross never happened, as she'd sat backstage at the V&A, counting the elapsing minutes. A forklift's transmission gave out, and the crate containing the rare, full-length Aikens portrait in her care couldn't be opened and inspected until several hours after her predicted quitting time. This had been Charlotte's initial schooling in the futility of trying to add pleasure to a business trip. But now that the wine had started to ease away the day's stresses, a local contact hovered just beyond the tip of her mind. Madrid, or the Prado, or the Thyssen, or the city's other important museum, the Reina Sofia, had come up in a quasi-recent post of one of her personal feeds. Or was it someone she followed? Or had it been a tweet? Charlotte oscillated between platforms, scrolling and searching until she found what she was looking for. Adrianna Coates. The name alone filled her with a delightful little charge in what James would jokingly call her nether regions. And it had been a minute. The last time she'd seen her, Adrianna was wearing her newly issued robin's egg blue academia regalia, rising in turn with the other would-be professors to receive her doctoral degree under a crowded tent in one of the grassy quads. Though somewhat older than Charlotte, Adrianna was only 4 years ahead of her in the doctoral program in art history. They'd actually met when Charlotte was still an undergrad at Yale. Adrianna had been a graduate TA in one of Charlotte's last big lecture classes. Adrianna had been new to teaching, but she was every bit as intimidating as the full professor she was there to assist. As PhD students, they'd only had one seminar together in Adrianna's final year. Charlotte had put herself together for those beyond daunting weekly class meetings, dressing as she might for a job interview, if not a first date. With Adrianna to impress up close, she'd read more thoroughly and carefully than for any other class.